Hey guys, this is SoFlo Josh, and I'm over here at BMW of South Miami to review this 2023 Rivian R1S. Huge shout out to them for allowing me to review this new Rivian. So let's go ahead and talk about the model. I'm sure most of you know that Rivian is a somewhat new brand. Their first model was actually the R1T. This is the R1S, which is the sibling version, which is the SUV version with the third row aspect. Now this is the Adventure trim, so it's going to have the quad motors, so basically motors on each wheel. This one makes 835 horsepower and 908 pound-feet of torque with those quad motors, which is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and talk about the styling of the Rivian. Now the Rivian is a very distinctive styled model. I love the overall character that it has. You have these nice quad beam LED headlights over here with this nice LED daytime running light over here as well. Now this daytime in the middle right here will switch to green whenever you're charging it. Speaking of charging, let's go ahead and talk about the charging port location. Now as you can see, it swings open and then it lights up. Cool thing is, recently, I don't know if you know, well I'm sure most of you know, that they actually incorporated NACS. So finally people are going to be able to charge at Tesla charging sites across the nation, as well in Canada. But the styling of this model is unmistakable. You know it's a Rivian when you see it coming down the road or when you're behind it. The overall styling is particularly one of my favorite within the electric era of SUVs. So getting onto the side over here, we also have 22-inch wheels over here, finished with the Pirelli rims. You also have a nice yellow caliper that has the Rivian lettering on it. Nice little details with the Rivian logo having yellow, as well as the Rivian nameplate right there, and so on and so forth throughout the whole vehicle. Now styling on the side profile is actually really cool. I like the boxy styling that this model has. Yeah, it's a little bit round up in the front, but the overall styling on the side is finished very, very nice. It gives it that kind of Defender-like styling, but in the electric era, and actually kind of looks very unique, especially the way that this A-pillar kind of rakes back a little bit, gives it more of a sporty kind of design compared to, let's say for example, a Defender. But overall, love the styling, especially this silver lining up here that kind of wraps around into the D-pillar right here. Getting into the back of the model, we have a huge light bar. Now like I said, the light bar in the front actually turns into green. This will also turn into green whenever you are charging it, which I think is pretty cool. I like how Rivian has done that just to like let them know, hey, your car is charging. Now I'm sure that they have an area where if it's not charging correctly, it will turn red and it'll like notify you, especially if you have the Rivian app. R1S logo over here with the nice yellow strip, and then the nice Rivian badge back here. Down here you also have your reverse lights. They're all LED, everything's LED, turn signals are LED, and then this nice window. I actually like the fact that they incorporated a windshield wiper. Even though it's boxy like this, it's actually going to be very good for areas like cold climate. If you go to, let's say for example, Colorado has a lot of snow, and whenever they put salt on the roads, all that dust kicks up and it's always going to cover up the rear window. Think of how like the Ioniq 5. The Ioniq 5 doesn't even have a windshield wiper in the back, and a lot of people have complained to the point where Hyundai went ahead and added a windshield wiper for the facelifted version of the Ioniq 5. But overall styling is really nice. It just looks so nice. I love the boxy cutoff design approach. This even like the little trim pieces all across, the way it just tapers off is really nice. And I like how they didn't put a spoiler. I don't think this model needs a spoiler. Yeah, sure, it has 835 horsepower, but to be honest with you, the overall necessity of a spoiler, it's just not there, you know. I would understand it for their R2 model, which recently got unveiled yesterday, and I have to say, really love the R2 and the R3 and the R3X, but like I said, it doesn't really necessarily need a spoiler. I think it looks really good without the spoiler. So let's go ahead and get into the interior of the Rivian. Now, as you can see, these door handles actually pop out whenever you have your key in your pocket and you're approaching the car, which is pretty cool. I like this. I'm almost positive that they have a feature whenever it's in cold climates and it's frozen over, that it will still be able to mechanize coming out. I'm not quite sure if people who live in colder climates, remember I live in Florida, so I'm not too sure, but I'm almost positive they have some type of feature like that. So getting onto the interior, and let's go ahead and talk about the door panels. Now, one of the coolest features, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about it right away, is this awesome flashlight that they incorporate right here. I love the fact that they did this. This is a very much adventure vehicle. It's meant to be going off-roading. By the way, this also does have air suspension, which is pretty cool, and you're going to be able to take this vehicle off-roading very much. And I think that this light, this flashlight is actually really cool. It's a nice aluminum finish, and all the other Rivian models actually get this. The R1T, the R1S, like this one, and the R2 and R3 and R3X, which is really nice. So door panel materials, soft touch over here. It's like a faux leather, which has nice gray stitching all across. Love that. Also, I like how they did a window here, a side window, instead of just one full window. That's actually really good for whenever you're going out on trails and you need to look down. This is going to be phenomenal. Now, mind you, this car has a lot of cameras, but I digress, and that's actually a pretty cool thing. Nice soft touch over here, nice wood panel all across. I love the open pore wood that they use. And remember, Rivian is also an eco-friendly company, so they're trying to do everything possible to save the earth. And every single material you see here is all using recycled material, which is really nice that Rivian is doing that, especially for an electric brand. Most brands will do it, but most brands will also not do it, and they won't put in the effort. Nice door handle here. I love the way they kind of designed the overall approach here. Really nice. And then over here you have a little section where you can pull out and you can actually put like maybe a Pop-Tart or some other stuff you can put in there. Nice speaker over here, which is pretty cool. Like the overall design of it. It's not too flashy. I'm not huge on flashy stuff, and the Rivian actually doesn't have a lot of flashy stuff. Getting over here to the seats, as you can see, this is power operated, and so is the driver, which is really nice. Now, plushness. I am a huge person for like plush seats, and I have to say the materials that they use on the overall seats look great. I love the way that this feels within my hand, and I'm sure it's gonna feel great when my bosom sits on it. But it has a nice material all across the bottom section and the back portion as well. I also love that they use this material right down the middle. It's really cool. I actually kind of like how they use different type of material within the whole cabin. It's not just like one specific material. They use vastly different ones too. Now, headrests also very plush. Again, you see that material that's carried over from this middle section. It's also carried over around the headrest, which is pretty cool. And then you have your Rivian badge right here. So getting on into the interior, driver's seat, we are met with two screens. Now, this one over here is the driver screen. This is going to be your digital gauge cluster, which also incorporates the maps. It tells you which whether you're park, drive, or neutral, any of those, and it also shows your vehicle as well as the percentage, which is pretty cool. I like the way they did that. Now, over here in the middle, you actually have a 16-inch infotainment system. Now, this is a full-on infotainment system. This houses everything from your climate control that you can go ahead and move around, which is pretty cool. You can actually deactivate, so if you press that, it basically deactivates it and you can actually see it shut. I like that they did that. It's super nice, and it's not too loud and everything like that. You know, with electric vehicles and how quiet it is, you would think it would be really loud for the operation system, but it's actually very quiet. So really nice infotainment screen over here. You can also lock the vehicle from here, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and lock the vehicle, and you can open the hood, open the charge port, adjust the steering wheel. Now, the one thing I will say that I'm not a huge fan of is that you have to adjust it like this. I'm not really huge on that. I wasn't quite sure why Rivian did that, but I can understand maybe they wanted to add everything into this infotainment. I mean, it's not a full-size SUV, but it is a mid-size, and for the price that you're getting, you would expect, you know, technology to be embedded here. But personally, I would rather have something over here on the side where I can go up and down right away. And in the side mirrors, it's the same thing. To adjust it, you go ahead and go up, down, you press to the side, go up, you know, that's basically it. And I'm, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of that. I would much prefer having a, you know, an actual switch over here, maybe in front of the window operation right here. But I digress. You know, I understand why they did it like that. Like I was saying, this infotainment actually houses a ton of things. You also have your camera. You have 360 degrees camera, really nice quality. I actually like the overall styling of it. Right now the sun is actually kind of beaming at the back camera, so that's kind of why it looks super dark. But out on the road you can actually see it. And the cool aspect about the cameras in general is that you can actually drive with these cameras on. Now I would recommend not doing that. I would recommend actually staying away from that and not doing that, because it actually will distract you, because you'll just, whether you look at this or you actually look at the road up ahead of you. I personally don't think you should actually do that, but it is a feature. And then you also have your music stations that you can choose from, and you have your navigation. The navigation is actually very, very snappy, as you can see, very fast paced. You can see everything here. You know, they also have the volume level for the navigation separate from the actual volume control for the media center, which is pretty cool. And you can change it to a 3D aspect, north up, or to a 2D dimension look. I actually kind of love the fact that they incorporated that. Now mind you, this actually does not incorporate Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. The reason why they did that is because they focus so much on the infotainment. It's kind of the same thing as why Tesla does it. Tesla does this exact same thing, and honestly I quite understand it, because they wanted to embed a lot of technology within the system. Now, do I think that they should add it on in the future? 1000%. But basing on the fact that we just saw the R2 and the R3 and R3X with that infotainment system over there, I don't think we're actually going to be getting that. So let's go ahead and continue talking about the cabin. Over here you have a nice section where you could put like your purse, bags, and store other stuff. You have a nice area here where you can go ahead and put your phone device right there, as well as right here. I actually like the fact that they done that, or you can put your phone or some other aspects. The cool aspect as well that I love, which I'm sure there's an issue why I'm not being able to take this out. Another cool aspect is you can actually take out this speaker. Now the speaker is actually a portable speaker. You can use this for whenever you go to the beach or you go camping. You could play songs in it, podcasts, and so on and so forth. I actually like that Rivian incorporated this within this model. I think this is super cool. Nice and really, really thick speaker. You can actually even charge it individually. You don't technically have to charge it in here. You can actually charge it at home or plug it in to any kind of thing. You can also pair it as well as use it with a light. So I like that. And the cool thing as well, that whenever you put the vehicle in lock, it also locks it, so you can't take it out of that. Now you can also put some stuff inside of here. This is a power actuated, and you can actually see the safety guide here. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out, but you can see it's very, very deep. Remember, this is a electric vehicle, so you have a skateboard chassis, so you could put a ton of things. You don't have a drive unit, you don't have anything, you don't have transmission, you have everything, you know, basically on a skateboard platform. You have 2 USB type C's, and it's actually lined with felt, which I actually like. I actually prefer this than having it with just the plastic. The plastic can easily scratch, this won't easily scratch. So like I said, 2 USB type C's there, ton of space. You could fit anything in there, you know, any kind of chips that you want to go ahead and put in there, go for it. But overall, styling's really nice. Now we have this faux Alcantara kind of top portion, and I actually like the way that they've done this too. It's very nice and soft. It doesn't actually do the little lines whenever you put your fingers through it, but it's still very good. I like the overall styling, and I love this grab handle. Look at the yellow pipe, the yellow stitching right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I like the yellow stitching. You have speakers over here on both the front and the rear occupants, which is pretty cool. I like having speakers right there where they're kind of like going down. And then you also have a tweeter and more speakers all across the interior of this vehicle. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the back of the Rivian R1S. Now, like I said, the overall door panel up there in the front was really nice, soft touch. This is also going to carry onto the rear. You would expect that, especially from this model being how much it costs. It's $84,000 for this version right here. You also have the same exact wood treatment, same touch points all across, this nice bronze finish over here, kind of like copper, but really nice. And then you also have a section here to go ahead and put more stuff. Speaker grill right there, and then getting over here, you can put your foot right here and you can get into the interior. So getting into the interior, I have tons of headroom, and that's thanks largely to this huge glass roof. Now this is a fixed glass roof. It is not going to dim or anything like that. It already comes tinted, which is really nice that Rivian went ahead and did that. But you're gonna have a ton of headroom. I would say I have about 2.5 to 3 inches of headroom space left. So I would say somebody who's around 6'2", 6'3" can fit over here comfortably. Now I'm sitting up straight back, head all the way up against the headrest, and overall that's how much space I have. Now legroom is very much adequate. This is exactly how I would sit, so that is a ton of legroom. I would say about 3.3 inches of leg room right here, and your foot actually can sit really nice and comfortable in there. There's nothing there that's stopping you from moving it. Over here you have a little section. I love the little details the Rivian adds, like this little piece right here. This hook is super nice, and you have an area where you can put like a folder or so on and so forth. Down here you have two USB type C's, and then each of the headrest section have another USB type C. You can actually hook up, you could buy accessory from Rivian themselves, and you can go ahead and put like a tablet over here. I actually love the way they did that. And I just noticed something, another material they put over here is that yellow stripe. Rivian's crazy. I love the way they've done everything. So the seats in the back, very plush, just like the front. As you can see, same exact stitching down the middle. Woo, be careful right there, can't go too deep or too far. Pulling this down, as you can see, it has cup holders here. Thank you, Rivian, for not incorporating the cup holder over here with the flip out. I do not like that. I despise when brands do that. But seating over here, Rivian right across, same exact material from the front to the rear, and that's a really great thing. So let's go ahead and get into the third row now. Getting in and out, let me speak about that really quick. So the egress of getting out right now is actually pretty good. My head doesn't actually hit this too much. Probably with the hat that I have on right now, it hits it a little bit, but if I'm gonna be honest with you, it's actually really nice. Let me show you again, me getting inside the interior. Very fast, you know, at the ingress, degress is perfect. This is exactly what I would want from an SUV. Somebody who likes rugged SUVs, this is exactly what I want. So getting into the rear, all you need to do is just press this and it will actually slide forward. Now the rear seats, like I said, this is a fully electric vehicle. So what happens? You have a skateboard. You're gonna have flat floor just like you did in the rear second row seats. So getting into the interior is actually really nice. Let's go ahead and get in here. Now sitting back here, you can actually move it back, and you can power operate it back. Now this is not all the way back, but as you can see, this is somewhere that somebody can actually sit like that, maybe like a kid or something, when you're going on a long road trip. For example, I'm 6 foot, so this would be great if a kid would sit over here in the front, like my niece or nephew or something like that. Now 6 foot tall, sitting back here, oops, it's a little tight, and I mean very tight. It's my knees are hitting against here, so this would definitely not feel comfortable at all. And the way that my legs are angled right now are very much upright, like if I'm about to take off on a runway. But I have to say, I think I like whenever the seats are up like this more so than that. So if somebody who is 6 foot tall, they definitely can't fit back here. I would say somebody around like 5'5" would be able to fit back here, but somebody who is you know, taller like myself, you wouldn't be able to. So let's talk about this little cubby area, which is pretty cool. You have a USB type C, so another USB type C and another USB type C. So that means that not only just one side gets it, but both sides gets it. And you have cup holders here. Nice soft touch all across. As you can see, the speaker grill, and you have your vents right here that are operated via the front infotainment system. So seat wise, they actually feel exactly the same as what the second row and the first row feels. And I actually like the way that these seats feel. They're very, very plush. Like I said, look at how plush that is. This is going to be great for road trips. And like I said, you can also fold these right here, this whole entire back row, and it doesn't fold flat because there is a section right here. As you can see, we're going to get into the trunk space right now, but you can actually fold this, fold these, and it'll be flat afterward. So overall, it's going to be a good adequate space for putting stuff. Let's say, for example, a 70-inch TV. I believe you'll be able to fit it over here. So getting out is a little bit more trickier. It's a little bit more trickier, but overall, really cool. I like the actual back seats. I believe they fit pretty good. You can actually recline it, and then you can slide it back like that. So getting into the trunk space. Now, the trunk space is actually power operated, at least for the top part. The bottom section, you press here, it just actuates it, so lets it go, and then you have to push it down yourself. Now, I know how some people might not like that, but if I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of prefer that. The reason why I prefer that is because less moving parts, which is better for me. In my opinion, the more moving parts you have, the more stuff are gonna break. Same thing when it comes to the rear seats, that there are not power operated to fold flat. I actually prefer that better than having something that is power operated that's gonna break and it's gonna cost you a fortune to go ahead and fix. But overall, the space that you have in here is really, really big. Now, these are the carpets that come with the Rivian Adventure trim, and I actually like it. Like I said, recycled material all across the interior, which is really nice. You could also fold flat the second row over here by pressing these buttons. And the cool aspect, since this has the air suspension, you can actually use this to air up and air down your tires, which is really, really cool. Now, you have these little tethers as well where you can move back and forward. Now, these are accessories you can buy. Well, they come standard with the vehicle, but the accessories that come with it, whether it be the net or anything like that, you can go ahead and use that as well. You have to also have your subwoofer right here, really nicely placed. It's gonna add some boom, some nice pizzazz. You know, you're listening to some jazz or so on and so forth, or Tory Lane. I like to listen to that, and so does my girlfriend, so we like to bump that a lot whenever we are in the car together. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take it out for, actually, wait, one thing I forgot to show you guys is the front. So the front can be accessed by here or a button up here in the front. I'm gonna go ahead and do it here because I love this overall key fob. It looks super, super nice. So the front actually has a ton of space up here in the front. You could fit basically anything, the charger. You can go ahead and put more groceries back here if you don't have enough space in the back trunk. So just know that you're gonna have a ton of space within this front over here, which is pretty cool. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take it out for a drive. It closes automatically. Let's take it out for a drive. Down here in the main row, so let's go ahead and take it out for a drive. So putting it into drive is very simple. It's just a gear lever right here. You press down and now you are set. You can go ahead and take your foot off of the brake, and it will it actually has an automatic hold, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and take it out on the road. Now, I have it in the non sport mode. This is actually just the conserve version. You can actually take it and change it to a different purpose, all purpose, or if you want to, you could put it into sport mode, which adds the most response. And remember, this is 835 horsepower and 908 pound-feet of torque. So we're gonna take it out over here on the road of US 1. We're gonna full throttle it. Whoa! Yes! Holy shoot. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's my first time ever experiencing that amount of torque. Oh my god, I've never experienced that before. That is awesome. This is actually my first electric vehicle that I've ever done and like reviewed, so I am like ecstatic. This is insane. The overall feel of this vehicle is crazy. Oh my god, it feels like your heart just went all the way back into your chest. Wow. And it even feels great around here. Oof. The liftoff is really good, and the regenerative braking is really nice. Now this does have regenerative braking, so just know that you can actually change the level of that and everything like that. You can also turn off the stability control, and you can add either the stiffness or soft. So let's go ahead and turn it into soft, and like I said, let's go ahead and take it to a stop right here, and then let me go ahead and full throttle it really quick. So we're gonna go ahead and whoa, holy shit. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to bleep that out. Actually, you know what, I'm just gonna keep it in. Why not? Whoa, this car is insane. The throttle response is crazy. This car feels fantastic, and I have to say, really nice feeling. Let's go ahead and take it back off of sport mode, and let's put it into conserve, which is gonna actually add more regenerative braking, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm sorry for the sunlight. It is over here 5:59 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, so there is a ton of beautiful sunsets over here in South Florida. But we're gonna go ahead and go take it out for another drive, and I'm actually gonna stay quiet so you can hear everything that's going on in the vehicle. Before I do, let me just mention the ride quality feels very nice. Stiffness is there. I like it. I like the stiffness that it has, but also it's soft in such a unique way. It's not too stiff, it's not too overbearing like some other brands do, but the overall feeling that this feels is great. Now, the regenerative braking I have to get used to. I am not really huge on the regenerative braking because I don't have a car that's electric, so I'm not used to that quite yet. But let's go ahead and take it out to the main road over here. And as you can hear, that's the actual sound of the turn signal. And I like the way that Rivian has done little bits of adding different sounds within the cabin. Really cool feature that they've done that, and I love the overall feel of this vehicle. So now I'm gonna go ahead and stay quiet. I'm gonna let you guys listen to the overall driving of this vehicle. So I did notice there is a lot of rattling. You'll probably hear that. This is a used car, just letting you know. So of course the previous owner probably did something, and that's why it's rattling so much. I'm not quite sure if other Rivian R1Ss do that, but I did notice that. And yes, it kind of actually is annoying, but the overall cabin ambiance is really large. You can actually hear a ton in the back seat. There's some things moving and so on and so forth. But it's actually, you can hear a lot. And actually, I love the fact you can hear the battery as you're coming to a stop, like the regenerative braking. I think that is such a cool feature. I do love hearing the electricity in that aspect and how it regenerates back into the battery. But with that being said, let's go ahead and end the video upstairs on the 3rd floor. So guys, we're back over here on the 2nd floor. Let's go ahead and talk more about this vehicle and give you my brief summary really quick while we do a walk around of this beautiful R1S. So with this being my first ever all-electric vehicle that I've ever put on the channel, as in me driving it, not sitting in the passenger seat, I am actually so thrilled. This was my first vehicle that I tested that's fully electric. Now, I'm not super knowledgeable in electric vehicles, but I will say this is some type of vehicle. I love the overall design of it. The ride handling is soft, but it's also firm to the point where you can actually feel a lot of the bumps on the road. Now, not a lot of cars actually do that. They don't actually allow you to feel the bump within the steering wheel. You actually feel a lot. And now, may I remind you, this is a electronically controlled steering rack. So with that being said, this vehicle is something else. Would I recommend it? 1000%. You can go ahead and get a cheaper version of this, actually a dual motor. Now they just recently came out with it, with the standard pack. There's the quad pack, and I think there's the tri pack if I'm not mistaken, or that's the one that's coming into the R2. But love the overall styling. As you can see, unique front end design. It's unmistakable when it's coming at you when you're driving down the road. Now, with that being said, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for watching my review, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.